Today on People Now, Chance the Rapper and more celebrities join the massive public outcry surrounding the killing of George Floyd. We have new details about the FBI investigation.
This week's People Cover story, why Loughlin and Massimo Giannulli took a plea deal, how their daughters reacted to the decision, and what comes next.
Oh, yeah. It is game on with Rob Gronkowski and Venus Williams. They're telling us all about their fun new show.
I got to sing a sexy karaoke song to Daniel Radcliffe.
Jan Krakowski and Carol Kane talk about their wild time on the set of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt's new interactive special.
She is thriving. Look at her.
Oh, yes. Tracee Ellis Ross showing off her amazing fiddly fig and telling us about her lifelong dream of singing coming true in her new movie. It's called The High Notes.
That and more today on People Now. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to People Now. Hope you're having a great Wednesday so far. I'm Andrea Boehlke here in Wisconsin. Jeremy, how's it going?
Good. Yes, I'm Jeremy Parsons here in New York. It's great to see you guys today. There's a lot to get to. We begin with this. As protesters carried out rallies Tuesday night calling for justice for George Floyd, the Minneapolis man who died after being restrained by police, dozens of public figures like Chance the Rapper, Demi Lovato, and Ava DuVernay are showing their support for Floyd and his family.
Chance the Rapper reportedly addressed the crowd at a protest in Chicago by saying, quote, "We're not going to let this bleep keep happening." Meanwhile, Demi Lovato called on white people to stand up against police brutality by uploading a slideshow on Instagram. One of the slides reads, quote, "I'm tired of typing rest in peace. I wish black men could live in peace."
In the caption to that post, she added in part, quote, "This is not okay, and it will not stop until everyone does their part, especially white people." Lovato went on to add, quote, "Do not let your discomfort surrounding social issues prevent you from speaking up for those in danger." Now, earlier this week, footage leaked online of a police officer placing his knee firmly on the back of the 46-year-old man's neck as he lied face down on his stomach next to a Minneapolis patrol car. In the clip, the man on the ground repeatedly groans and pleads for help, saying that he can't breathe. The FBI is now investigating Floyd's death, and 4 police officers have been fired.
In another tribute, director Ava DuVernay shared Floyd's picture on Twitter, writing, quote, "You deserved your breath, your dignity, your life, not to die in the street, murdered by a white cop's knee on your neck." DuVernay went on and said, "You deserve our tears, our prayers, our rage, our action. We must act for you and for all of those where no cameras are present. We must."
In this week's People Cover story, a source tells us that Loughlin and Massimo Giannulli deeply regret what they did in that college admissions scandal.
The couple have agreed to a plea deal, and a legal source tells us that it was a now or never deal and explains that the couple took it because they knew if they were found guilty, they would be spending multiple years behind bars. The source adds, quote, "They realized they were foolish in this case. It's a chapter of their lives that they just as soon get behind them and forget."
The plea deal is still pending approval by a judge, but according to the terms, Loughlin agreed to serve 2 months in prison, pay a $150,000 fine, and do 100 hours of community service.
Meanwhile, Giannulli agreed to serve 5 months, pay a $250,000 fine, and do 250 hours of community service. Both will also spend 2 years on supervised release.
And according to a source, the couple's daughters, Olivia Jade and Isabella Giannulli, encouraged their parents to take the deal because they wanted it to be over. The source says the girls' biggest fear has been that their parents would go to jail for years, so they agreed that taking the deal was the best option.
Loughlin and Giannulli initially pled not guilty to the charges against them, and according to a source, the prosecution likely gave the couple one final deal due to the coronavirus lockdown.
The pandemic might also mean that Loughlin and Giannulli could avoid jail time. Legal expert James J. Leonard Jr., who is not affiliated with this case, tells People that given that the Department of Justice is currently releasing many nonviolent inmates serving federal sentences due to COVID-19, any period of incarceration seems unnecessary in this case.
He thinks no one should be surprised if the court sentences the couple to, quote, "a period of home confinement with certain restrictions." Loughlin and Giannulli's sentencing has been scheduled for August 21st. All right, it looks like Khloé Kardashian is getting ready to say goodbye to her Calabasas mansion. The family's longtime realtor, Tomer Friedman, teased a new listing that he's handling while on an episode of Real Talk on IGTV on Monday. And while he wouldn't say exactly who the listing belongs to, We are breaking down all the clues that point right to Khloé.
Yeah, we've got the detective hats on here. Friedman describes the property as an 11,000 square foot Mediterranean revival mansion located in the Oaks neighborhood of Calabasas, California. So it's set to be listed for close to $19 million. He says, quote, it has real Hollywood history. It was owned initially by the ex-wife of an Uber celebrity. He bought it for her in the divorce. Then we sold it to a very young pop star who's very famous still to this day. And he added, when he wanted to move on, I sold it to one of my favorite clients. I cannot mention her name. That was his quote.
So Friedman went on to say that the house was featured on the cover of Architectural Digest alongside the owner's sister who lives down the street. Now, in March of 2016, Khloé's home was featured in that magazine along with her sister, Kourtney Kardashian's home. In that cover story, Khloé revealed that she bought the home from Justin Bieber in 2014, and property records show that Justin Bieber bought the home from the ex-wife of Eddie Murphy, Nicole Murphy, who received the home in their divorce. So I don't know, Jeremy, it's all adding up here.
Checking the boxes. All of that, not to mention that photos of the home shared on Real Talk match those in the AD story, and the outside of the home is recognizable from scenes on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I do feel like a little bit of a detective, but it's nice when the pieces come together, guys.
We're doing some great work here. Friedman ended the interview by confirming the listing should be up soon. A rep for Real Talk told people that the home is currently off market, though they would not confirm that the home is owned by Khloé.
Social distancing has been smooth sailing for Sofia Vergara and her husband, Joe Manganiello. The actress reveals they haven't had one fight yet, and that their relationship has continued to thrive while isolating amid the coronavirus pandemic.
Sophia tells us in this week's issue that they are, quote, very good, and they haven't gotten under each other's skin. The actress is also isolating with her son, niece, and 3 dogs, and attributes her peaceful isolation situation to everyone having their own space. She explains, we don't have to be on top of each other, so that has helped. Everyone does their own thing.
Sophia says everyone has a job. Her son cooks. Her niece is in charge of dishes and cleaning the kitchen. Sophia is busy organizing and disinfecting, while Joe is responsible for feeding the dogs and opening the mail.
You need someone to open the mail. Now, Sophia has also been trying to keep things fun. She has shared some of her daily at-home activities on social media, including pool days, family meals, and backyard picnics. She tells us, quote, we haven't had a bad time, and it's because we've also had the family together. I try to make an event out of everything to entertain everyone.
Speaking of pool days, Joe recently surprised fans and followers when he shared a photo of himself lounging poolside, looking unrecognizable without that beard. Sophia tells us that his new look was a welcome change compared to the pirate beard that he had prior to social distancing. She says, quote, I think it makes him look older, but when he has it halfway, it's perfect. That's how I met him.
Sophia is also hoping to entertain fans with the new season of America's Got Talent. So she has joined the judges panel and says this season is amazing and fans will be so happy. You can catch America's Got Talent Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC.
All right, stay with us. Tracee Ellis Ross is talking all about her new film, The High Note, and why it helped her live out her dreams of singing. Plus, country star Kip Moore teasing up his new album and sharing a status update on his summer tour with Sam Hunt. Stick around.
Name 3 NFL teams from Florida.
Oh, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins,
and
Buccaneers.
That is correct. Name 3 of the top 10 all-time home run hitter.
Oh, Babe Ruth,
Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire.
I don't have Mike McGuire in there. What did you say?
Sammy Sosa, Babe Ruth, Roger Maris.
That is correct. Name 3 reasons why Ian is Team Venus all the way.
We get along great. We dance well again.
Guys, Game On is the perfect show for all of us that are craving kind of a sports fix and a game show fix all mixed into one during this lockdown. The show is hosted by Keegan-Michael Key. 2 teams, captained by NFL superstar Rob Gronkowski and tennis legend Venus Williams, are facing off against each other. And guess who's here to tell us all about it? Rob and Venus. Thank you guys so much. We were just saying it's a lot of fun. And it looks like you guys had so much fun doing it. Thanks for taking time today.
Thank you so much.
Before we get into the show, I want to know, how is isolation going? What are you doing to pass the time? Have you picked up a new hobby? Rob, let's start with you.
All right, isolation's, it's not bad. You know, I've been finding many things to do. A hobby I picked up was juggling. I actually wish I had some tennis balls here to show you. If I run real quick.
I have 3 balls. I wish I could pass them to the screen.
I'm actually in my basement right now, and there's 3 ping pong balls right over there. Right over there. If you allow me to go grab them real quick, it'll take 4 seconds and I can juggle.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. I'm a juggler, so I have to see this.
You're a juggler?
I love juggling, yeah.
Okay, so how many can you?
I can mostly just do 3. I can kind of do 4.
Not bad.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
Wait, was that,
Oh, wow.
You ready?
Oh, you guys already know how to juggle.
Yeah,
All right, here we go. Let's see your
this.
skills, Rob.
Yeah. Well, have you ever juggled ping pong balls?
okay.
Let's do it.
All right, Venus, are you ready?
No, but I'm gonna watch.
You
Here
can
we
judge,
go.
Venus. You can judge.
This wasn't one of
I
the
like that.
competitions on Game On because she would have got whopped. All right, here we go. Oh, yeah. Woo! Ping pong balls.
Wait a minute. I think she just threw one behind her back.
Yeah, she did the one behind her back. Wait. What?
Oh, really? Let me
Oh, Jeremy, stay focused.
I gotta learn to take a bite of the apple as you're doing it. You know, you see those guys that like eat the whole apple while they're doing it.
see.
Anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, we're all warmed up now.
Ping pong player. That's my serve. I'm juggling
Yeah.
up 3 ping pong balls and then whack, I just serve it.
Venus, you gotta get the tennis
Actually, I
balls
just threw a
going.
toss up, but through the leg the other day and hit a massive serve. So just to throw my opponents off. You never
Incredible,
know.
though. I'm really impressed,
All
Rob. I
taking
love juggling, so it's really cool. Venus, do you have a new hobby that you've picked up?
I actually have been doing Instagram live workouts with Rob. Was so kind to come on, and Camille. I love them both. And during this time, you can't work out. There's no gyms. I almost panicked when there was no gym. So we've been doing workouts like with no equipment. And Rob and I got into a like a rotation competition or something, squatting with like our trophies. It was pretty crazy.
Yes, it was pretty crazy. It was like a football workout, a tennis workout, and then a dance routine workout, all within 45 minutes. I was sweating.
By the way, it's incredible. When I heard this show was happening and that you two were involved, I was like, man, they pulled some heavy hitters. It's impressive that you're both on board for this. What was the draw, the appeal for you to get on board with Game On?
So I've been saying that Rob, they're like told me Rob was a part of it. I was like, okay, I'm in. So I've been a huge fan of Rob and just thrilled and delighted that he's coming back. And I know I'm supposed to be very Dolphins, go Dolphins, but I can't help but like wish him the best of luck in the season. So, but outside of that, we were rivals on Game On, and it was all game face and stare downs and like, I didn't know how to talk any junk was the problem though, because in tennis you're supposed to be so proper and you have tea on the court, and if so I couldn't get that part down. So
Yeah, were there any tennis skills you were able to apply to this show?
yeah, so there was one where we hit a target during practice when we were picking up balls. Constantly, I'm just like trying to get that ball into the basket. So I'm doing that all day. So that one was kind of no brainer for me.
And Rob, I saw that at least one of the competitions, you're riding a bike, and those quads came in handy. You were bragging about them. There you go. That NFL training. There we go.
Nice.
You didn't have to ask.
That was all from the show. Riding the bicycle on the show. I have no quads. I lost my quads. Actually, that hit in the Super Bowl I took 2 Super Bowls ago, it diminished my quads. So my quad was gone. So that's why I joined the show Game On, because they were like, well, you're going to ride a bicycle. And I was like, I'm going to be able to work my quad and get it back. And they were like, yeah, that's what's going to happen. So I was like, I'm in. I love activities. I love competition. I'm full go with all that. And I get to ride the bike and build up my quad and make it look spectacular for this quarantine. So,
well, and the show has so many cool aspects. I mean, you have athletes, but also comedians, different celebrities, such a fun dynamic. Venus, what's your favorite thing about this show?
Favorite thing about the show is just bringing 2 things people love together, which is sports and comedy. So we laugh so hard, but then we get out of our comfort zones because we're world-class athletes, and suddenly we're doing things that we just look crazy. We just look crazy because we don't know how to, like, if you're trying to drive a monster truck, it takes a lot of skill to do that. And we're trying to drive these trucks, and suddenly we're like just not only on an even playing field, but like somewhere below. And me trying to kick a field goal, respect. So all these different things that we do, and then we just laugh so hard with these amazing comedians with Bobby Lee and Ian Carmel and Keegan Michael Key. So it's a plus competition. So we actually do want to win.
So at the end of each episode, you guys mentioned that the losing team has to take the L, and that's a segment where you kind of take the punishment. What was the toughest punishment that either of you faced? Venus, you want to start?
The ice bath was terrible. In full clothing, I didn't like that. Oof.
The ice bath would have been easy. I was kind of hoping I lost that one because I was like, oh, the ice bath. That's easy. And actually, I did do karaoke for one of them, take the L, but that's not really, that bad of a punishment.
The voice of an angel.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Venus always hyping me up, even though she knows that my voice is like an angel. But I would say when I had to eat those pig toes.
Oh no!
It was one of the grossest things I've done. I only took a bite of it and then I spit it back out. But just to even get that taste and that texture of the feel after taking the L and that, it made me not even want to be on the show anymore. But you know, that night I had a real bad problem. Nightmares and everything. So, I just had to get over it.
Going on what you were talking about before, Venus, you're doing these Instagram workouts, staying really active. You're such a disciplined person. What is your biggest piece of advice for people right now who are staying home that are really trying to work out?
Yeah, so my bit of advice is that, there's a lot of things out of control right now, things we cannot control, no matter how we try. But the one thing you can control is your health and your activity levels. So I don't even think you have to work out every day. Just do it often, keep your health up, because you don't want to come out of this. You want to come out of this ready to win, not coasting on a loss. So the win nowadays is a little bit different. We have to try to win in different ways, maybe a little bit untraditionally, but there are still ways to win. Like, you can do that with your health.
Rob, how about for you? NFL, what are your goals for the season?
Oh, man, you're going right into it,
Just
man.
boom.
Well, first off, my goal is to get in football shape.
Yeah.
So for the last year, that I retired, I really didn't, touch a football. I really didn't do that many football activities. I was doing everything else. I was doing yoga. I was shooting basketball. I was playing air hockey. I was playing cornhole. I was playing frisbee. I was rollerblading. I basically did every activity besides football over the last year. So I've been transitioning over the last 3-4 weeks into that football role, into those football workouts, running routes again, football lifts, get me ready. So just right now, the ultimate goal is to get in football shape and to show up ready whenever we can go back to the facilities and start practicing, and just making sure I'm keeping the mind busy and the body moving. So whenever that time is, whenever that we get that phone call, we can go back. I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to put a show on, baby.
Yeah, we all want to sit back and relax on the couch and watch you and those guys out there.
You two are so great. Thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on this show. It's so hilarious. All right, and everyone, don't forget to catch Rob and Venus on Game On, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS.
This is a huge opportunity.
We can do whatever we want.
Titus, are you kidding?
If I were, you'd be chuckling right now. Chuckling hard.
Kimmy Schmidt is back in the new interactive Netflix comedy special called Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Kimmy versus the Reverend. I caught up with two of the series stars, Carol Kane and Jane Krakowski, and they shared with me how they've been spending their time at home. Take a listen.
I'm trying to clean the floors. I'm trying not to eat too much. I'm trying to be a good mama to Johnny.
Oh, it's so cute.
I get to see my mom every day. And so, yeah, I think housework is my new habit that I'm trying to learn. And I would say, so far, I would give myself about a D-.
Third grade is probably the main one that's taking up most of my day. Because I have a 9-year-old. I'm taking the 9th grade way too seriously. I've actually gotten competitive with Emily L. I don't know why she always gets the right answer over me. But besides flunking the 3rd grade, I've taken up ukulele, which is sort of my creative Corona outlet. It's something I've always wanted to learn, and so I'm trying. I haven't gotten very far, but...
In Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, there's always hilarious scenes, ridiculous lines and scenarios, dance moves and songs. And Carol and Jane revealed to me what they think is the most out there thing that they had to do in the special.
I really love to, I got to sing a sexy karaoke song to Daniel Radcliffe. And I got to seduce Daniel Radcliffe. So that was pretty fun.
I think the most outlandish one, and it is one of my favorites because of who's involved, there is one route that you go down where suddenly Jacqueline is fantasizing about herself singing a French song and dancing go-go with an astronaut roller skating around her. So that was pretty out there. And the roller skater is played by one of our longtime hair people all through 30 Rock and all through Kimmy, Guy, who is amazing, an amazing Frenchman who can roller skate in an astronaut outfit. And so, yeah, that's probably one of my favorite things. And initially, she's singing a French song, and initially, I think I was meant to re-record the vocals, but if you listen closely, it's actually Tina Fey singing the vocals.
Oh.
Which I love that I'm lip syncing to Tina Fey. It's one of the most fun things I could think of.
It's the end of an era for fans and the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt cast. I asked Jane and Carol if they took anything from set to keep as a memory of their time on the show.
I did keep one thing. It was from, I think it's like season 3 or 4. Jacqueline is trying to fit into her old sort of pair of shoes, and the box said they were rich girl size 6, because women want their feet to be so small and petite. Mm-hmm. And it's literally a red soled Christian Louboutin mini shoe of one of Jacqueline's real shoes. It was made on a 3D printer, and it's incredible. It's the most beautiful stiletto, and it's just like this.
I've kept some of my beautiful clothes designed by Tina Nigro, our brilliant costume designer. And mostly I've kept incredible memories of our loving time together.
If you haven't seen it, be sure to watch Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Kimmy versus the Reverend, streaming right now on Netflix.
All right, in case you haven't started Ryan Murphy's Netflix series Hollywood just yet, it tells the story of a group of actors and filmmakers who will do whatever it takes to make it big in post-World War II Tinseltown.
The show also raises some big conversations around sexuality and race, namely the darker side of Hollywood's golden age, in which talented minorities struggle to earn roles and representation, both in front of and behind the camera. People's senior editor Janine Rubenstein recently hosted a virtual fireside chat about that show with Blackprint, which represents the Black voices at People's parent company, Meredith. She and Hollywood stars Jeremy Pope, Laura Harrier, and Michelle Krusick covered so many topics, including those sex scenes, which were apparently even racier in the script.
I mean, I didn't know, like we keep saying, we didn't know we were signing up for. So I got this first script and I was like, wait, what? They want me to do what?
After reading those scripts, I was so grateful. I was like, oh my God. It's written so explicitly. I was almost like in here going, woo!
I definitely remember reading it, and obviously this was like weeks into we've already said yes, we're having fittings. I was like, oh, I got to call my mom and I got to call my dad. Like I have to call the whole family because this is about to be a whole different thing. Like it was so explicit in the way that the first original draft, I was like, I'm pretty sure my bio will say adult entertainment from now on because it's like, this is intense. Like, and you got to be confident, you know, but again, it was a very safe environment when we did come around to those scenes. A lot of the times, you know, Ryan, he has this thing of he'll be like, don't read the script because you get there and he likes to play, he likes to create. And he was directing episode 1, and that's where we meet Archie and the sex work of it all. And, you know, my big day of having my first sex scene on camera was a little nerve-wracking, but I loved the message behind it, that these characters did what they had to do to make ends meet. Specifically Archie, he wasn't ashamed of who he is or what he has to do to get there. And I admire that. I admire that confidence. So if anything, it gave me a little swag, and I walked away feeling a bit prouder of myself.
Jeremy Pope also opened up about his experience dreaming about a career in the industry and what he hopes viewers take away from a show that reimagines the history of Hollywood in a much more inclusive way.
Being a young Black artist that feels like I have so much art to give and want to share with the world, there's times where I wonder if there is room for me and if there is space for me. If the industry will allow me to give my art. And I hate that. It's like, I hate that feeling of someone asked me recently, like, you know, what do you dream of? And I'm like, there's a point where like the things that were happening in my life had surpassed anything I could have dreamed, because I don't think I knew I could dream that high. Or people often ask me, you know, were you a Hollywood buff before? Like, were you well versed with Hollywood and the golden age? And I was like, I knew of things, but like they weren't making pictures for me. There wasn't my narrative being told. So I just didn't find I just wasn't ever obsessed with it in that way. So if anything, I hope that our show, being as hopeful and as inspirational as it is, as my personal story, hopefully giving a young artist out there something tangible so that they know that there is space out there for them, that there is room, and that they can dream and do whatever it is they want to do.
You just said in your article in People, by the way, that you've got a fiddle leaf fig in your corner. Let's see. Oh, boom. Whoa. Okay, this is embarrassing.
No, she is thriving. Look at her.
She is thriving. All right, not only is Tracee Ellis Ross's fiddle leaf fig thriving, she is as well the actress starring in the upcoming film The High Note. In it, she's making her real-life dreams of singing a reality. But before we got into all that, her fiddle leaf does look amazing, right? She shared with me her top plant care tips. Watch.
My dad has a green thumb, and my dad has been the one that's been talking me through all of this. He said, say good morning and good night.
Okay.
Make sure that you do not overwater, because that is one of the key things that I was doing. And my dad was like, the leaves are falling because you're watering it too much, Tracee. So, yeah.
Okay.
So don't overwater and give it love. And he also told me, this is a funny one. He told me I had a piece of yellow tape on it, like wrapped around to lift the leaves up.
Right.
He's like, plants like pretty things too. Do you have a ribbon, Tracee? So now there's a beautiful velvet ribbon on her.
So it's like, the plant needs to feel loved.
That's exactly right. I should sing it my single.
Yeah, and Tracee Ellis Ross's new single, Love Myself, is featured in The High Note. The film is going to be available on demand starting May 29th. Take a look.
Damn, the girl still give me goosebumps.
Well, Grace, have you thought any more about the Vegas residency?
Actually, I think it's time I record a new album.
I mean, that's one plan.
Tracee has always wanted to sing, and she tells me more about living out her singing dreams in the film, why now was the right time to share her singing chops with the world, and her mom's reaction to that new song.
It felt like the perfect, most special project. It felt like the right time for me to face my biggest fear and my childhood dream. And I love the message of this movie, and I think that was the overarching theme that drew me in. The fact that this was about saying that it's never too late to go for your dreams. It's never too late for you to pursue what you want to pursue. And so, yeah, I mean, here we are. It's all very exciting.
I love that, and it's wild to hear that was your biggest fear. What made it your biggest fear?
Well, let's see. My mom is Diana Ross.
Is that what it? Okay, but is that what it is? Because I know you've said before too, she does a good job of not making the kids feel like they're in her shadow, right?
Oh, no, my mom, I grew up in her embrace, but let's talk about not my mom, the world. I wasn't afraid of my mom. I was afraid of what she's done in the world.
Okay.
She's, I don't know, an internationally beloved icon and global superstar who changed the face of music. I don't know. Why would I want to be scared to be in her shadow? No. Yeah, I have big high heels to follow, to fill. And I feel like, just like all of us, it's the idea that you're afraid of what people are going to think and even what you're going to think of yourself. And you realize that it's none of your business. And then, it was a fear. And I think also it's like when you put a dream aside, the longer you wait, the bigger the fear becomes.
Right.
And at a certain point, I wasn't waiting. It was just that I got busy doing something else. But this project was worthy of pulling me out of the dark room.
Digging into that deep part of your talent.
Digging into the part of me that wants to sing.
And she cried when she first heard that single, right?
She did. She cried.
And how did that make you feel?
And she looked at me and said, well, we were holding hands and we were in my car, because the car is a great place to listen to music. And we were holding hands and she turned towards me crying and she said, finally, because I know my mom knew that I wanted to sing, but she never pushed, and she just was there to support me when it happened.
That's really incredible. This character is one that is fun to watch, fun to connect to. She's going through the realities of this phase of her career, going after what she wants at the time and figuring out what that is. You've also, by contrast, talked about going after this role. It's something you pursued, you wanted, you fought for it. What was it that made you feel really connected to this character?
I love the message of it. And I love that she was this larger than life woman who was also filled with humanity. And I think it's something we often forget, is that these people in our lives that are so extraordinary and do such extraordinary things, that they have fears and they have secrets and they have inner dreams and stuff like that. And I really, I loved the humanity of this woman. And I also loved that I would have the chance to sing.
There you go. Ice Cube, great job playing this kind of tough guy. He lays down the law. I've interviewed him a couple times, and he seems, by contrast to that, to be a very sweet guy. But you tell me.
I feel like he's like a grumpy teddy bear. Like he's so like hard rap guy, but like he's such a mush ball inside. He's such an angel. He's so wonderful. I loved working with him. I loved getting to meet him. The fact that I get to text Ice Cube now is ridiculous.
Wait, this is the first time you'd ever met him working on this?
I think it was.
Wow, and so that you've got an active text chain.
Yeah.
Okay.
He and I text each other now.
Nice. How about a little collab, musical collab?
Sure. I mean, it seems important, don't you think?
Well, the world needs it, I think. Yes, it does seem important.
It's what the world needs now.
Thank you. Dakota Johnson, fans obviously know her from the 50 Shades movies. Very different role here. She just seemed to be so authentic on screen. Talk to me about that rapport that you had to build with her.
We didn't have to work at it. She and I connected quickly and immediately. She has such a big heart. She's smart as a whip, and we actually started shooting with a lot of those car scenes. So it was really fun. We were stuck in a car together, which was great. I don't know. I love that there was a lot of real love that was brought to the chemistry between us, as opposed to that sort of typical shtick of diva and assistant. And I think that's because Dakota and I enjoy each other a lot.
Yeah. Quickly before we go, I just have to say, I've been following your Blackish co-star, Anthony Anderson.
Yeah.
He said he's growing veggies in the backyard. He's working out.
He's always done that.
Oh, has he?
He's always been a veggie grower.
Okay. He's lost 17 pounds or so. He's, in some ways, he's saying he's like living his best life during this stay-at-home situation. He's setting the high bar.
We work really hard on Blackish. We do 24 episodes, which is 8 months out of the year. We usually do a 14-hour day. Anthony is never home. I am never home. This room that I'm in, I've never seen it before. I don't have a big house, but I've never seen this room. No, I'm joking. But I never get to use it. I'll tell you that right now. I'm never here. I walk right from the bedroom out of the house.
Yeah, gone.
Back into the bedroom. So this has been, to a certain extent, a lovely respite. I'm really sorry that it takes, I think it's awful that with so much hardship, that we can also, no, let me flip that. Whatever I'm saying is garbage.
Here's the new version. Here it comes.
Here it comes. I'm sorry that it takes, no, it's still bad. I've been talking too much. I can't.
All right, in this week's issue of People, we are spotlighting some really inspiring people who have transformed major aspects of their lives. So joining me now, two amazing women featured in the issue. Welcome, Kaya Twisselman and Chalisa Fierce. Hello, ladies. How are you doing?
Hi, doing great. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, Sam, I'm doing great.
Yeah, and what I love is you two have vastly different stories, but both very empowering and inspiring. So Kyle, let's start with you. You transformed your lifestyle to focus on your physical and mental health. As a result, you lost over 100 pounds. It's really cool to see the side-by-side. I see it on your Instagram and in the feature. What inspired you to take that first step?
Sure. So I have battled with being overweight and obesity for my entire life. And for so long, I just kind of blamed my circumstance for where I was. I blamed my genetics. I blamed my job for not having time. And I finally decided that, you know what, if I want to change anything about my life, my health, my career, anything, it's got to start with me making that choice. And it is my responsibility to take actions. And I realized that the biggest change I needed to make wasn't just with the food and exercise, because I think that's a piece that a lot of us understand. The problem is that we're giving up on ourselves. And so I realized that I needed to approach it from a different mindset, which is more about loving myself enough to show up and do the thing I needed to do for myself, instead of hating myself and wanting to change who I was or how I looked. So that different approach was such a huge game changer for me. And really focusing on the mindset part of this journey has been the biggest transformation. I mean, obviously the physical transformation is the most shocking when people see me, but I always say, man, if only you could see my mind, because that is where the biggest change was made, hands down.
I love it. Jaleesa, let's talk about you for a second. So you, on the other hand, transformed your living situation to overcome homelessness. Now you're studying at Yale Medical School. You graduated high school as the valedictorian despite your living situation. I mean, how are you able to overcome all that you have, and what inspired you to really push through the difficult times?
Yeah, I always say that my biggest inspirations are my little brother and my little sister. They were a lot younger when we were experiencing homelessness. So I want them to see that, like, no matter what you're going through, you can and you will succeed in your life. And I want to give them a better life in the future. And then also just being homeless. A lot of people have mental health issues, and just seeing those mental health issues just got me really interested in psychiatry and becoming a physician to treat those disorders.
Yeah, how has your life really transformed the last few years in particular?
Well, I started medical school.
Yeah, that's just a little, casual medical school.
Yeah, it's like, especially in the light of this, whole COVID situation, and like being home and not being able to be, actually in the hospital and like seeing patients, it's been like an adjustment. But then it also just gave me a sense of purpose. Like, what I'm doing for my life is actually going to mean something to someone someday.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kaya, how has your life changed as a result of your transformation? I mean, how are you feeling today?
One of the coolest things now is that I have become a life coach and a weight loss coach ever since this journey. But just in the day-to-day life too, I just have so much more energy to show up and do the things I love with the people that I love. But it's also totally changed my relationship with myself as well. I have so much more self-confidence and self-love for myself, and that has overflowed into so many aspects of my life outside of my health, which has been really rewarding. And I love that I can kind of help give that back to other women now as well.
Let's talk about the mental health aspect of all of this for both of your journeys, because going through a transformation like this can bring on a lot of struggles. A lot of times you might feel low, you're dealing with mental health issues sometimes. So Jaleesa, can you tell us what was the hardest part for you mentally on your journey, and what was your strategy to stay in a good headspace?
I think the hardest thing is the uncertainty, like not knowing where I would shower, where I would sleep, where I would eat, or what I would eat, like if I would have food, and like still trying to make sure that I did what I had to do for school. The best way I got through it was just talking to my mother and just letting her like be the adult and like getting us through the situation. And then I'm also a very big advocate for prayer and reading my Bible, and I just used that, and I just kept my head down and did my schoolwork. It was just like, in the future it's going to be a lot better than what it is now.
Is there a specific time in your life that was maybe a turning point, or a time where you really had to dig deep? Is there a time that really sticks out for you?
Yeah, there's this one shelter we were staying in, and at the time, actually when I was in high school, I only took college courses. So I only had classes, I think Tuesdays and Thursdays. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'd have to stay at the shelter. But the shelter, you can't be there during the day, so I'd have to be outside all the time, and like sometimes I just felt unsafe because I was outside all the time. I wasn't in a building because I was, not able to be in the shelter. So that just inspired me. But like, Jaleesa, you have to like get out of this situation for your future, because I never want to feel that like uncertainty and like that level of, what is it, danger? I don't know if that's the correct word, but like feeling unsafe.
I mean, I'm just in awe of you. How are you able to be valedictorian and study while going through all of this?
I tell people all the time that was literally the only thing I could do. Like, I didn't have internet or cable or TV, anything like that. Like, all I had were my books, and I had to like use the library's computer. But like, literally all I had was my schoolwork, all for my entertainment.
Wow. Truly, truly incredible. For both of you, there's a lot of people out there right now, especially during these times, feeling really uncertain. They're struggling either with homelessness, either with trying to love themselves. I mean, what is your biggest piece of advice for someone out there who's struggling? Let's start with you, Kaya.
Oh gosh. Well, first of all, Jaleesa, you are so inspiring. That is incredible. But I would say one of the things that I would recommend to people is to really rethink their relationship with failure. That was huge for me. Before, when I would try dieting and try losing the weight, I would think that I had to have this all or nothing mentality. Like I had to do it perfect or not do it all. And instead, I really had to see failure as not a stopping point, but failure as the best teacher in this journey, and failure as a sign, not that I was failing, but as a sign that I was moving forward. Really rethinking those struggles and those failures in your life, not as a sign of, oh, I need to stop here, I need to turn around, I wasn't made for this, and saying like, I failed today. What did I learn from this, and how is this making me stronger and getting me one step closer?
Oh yeah, I actually totally agree with Kaya. Yesterday, my friend graduated from NYU School of Medicine, and she, like the commencement speaker said, the opposite of failure is stagnation. So basically, like if you're just staying in the same spot over and over again, that's like you're not gonna improve as a person if you're staying in the same spot over and over again. And this opportunity right now, this COVID situation, whatever you're going through right now, is an opportunity for you to improve.
Man, you two are so great. Now I want to be a better version of myself too. So you've inspired me.
All right, in this week's issue of People, Andy Cohen is opening up about his life as a dad, and he's quite the doting father to son Ben. Cohen's been working remotely from his home on a Sirius XM radio show and on Watch What Happens Live after a battle with the coronavirus back in March. Cohen reveals that while staying at home, he's been trying to focus on the benefits that come with isolating, like the fact that he's gotten to spend way more time with Ben than he otherwise would have. He tells us that getting up with his son every morning and putting him to bed every night has been incredible. And Cohen says that although he can't take his 16-month-old to the playground, he loves taking Ben out on walks. But when Cohen does have to focus on work while at home, his new nanny watches over Ben. Cohen says that the transition from his last nanny has been a really good one. Cohen had revealed on an episode of his radio show that his previous nanny had left to help out his good friend Anderson Cooper, who welcomed newborn baby boy Wyatt via surrogate on April 27th. Now, Cohen said that he is so happy for Anderson and that he's also so excited for Ben and Wyatt to grow up together and to get to know each other. We love that.
Country star Kip Moore has toured the world, headlining his own shows, earning acclaim and a huge fan base as an all-in performer. And now he's releasing his 4th studio album titled Wild World. Here's a quick snippet of the released song, Southpaw. Take a listen. Wild World is set to be released on May 29th, and Kip explained to us the inspiration behind both the music and the album's title.
Just thinking about my life and where my journey has gone and the things that I've seen and how there'll be a constant need to value things and stuff to me that really doesn't matter. Stuff to me that's the BS that's pushed on you as a society. From the minute you're born, you're kind of programmed to think this way. And to me, it was about locking back into the simplicities in this life that can sometimes feel very elusive and search for that joy and peace. And that's kind of where the feeling of the wild world came. And once I wrote the song, you know, that was just the thing. I was like, this is what we're gonna call the record.
Kip says he always wanted to be authentic to his heart and soul when writing his music. He opened up to us about how cathartic it can be to channel that honesty in his songs.
It made me bring up a lot of maybe feelings and vulnerabilities I had suppressed. It gives you time to process those things. And that's what I've always wanted to do with my music is first off, I'm way more honest in my music than I really am in real life. I'm a lot more closed off in real life. So I've always wanted to dive into those things and process those things that I'm feeling. Like with a song like Fire and Flame, where there's a definite struggle that's happening internally with faith and where you fit in this life. And if I'm thinking that, you know, there's a lot of other people thinking that. And so I bring it to light and I put a mirror on it. And I hope that it brings a sense of peace to other people when they can start to process those things.
Kip has another fun project in the works these days. He's launching his In the Wild Sessions, an acoustic video series. And for the series, he says he wanted to literally get out into the wild.
Recording these songs truly raw and acoustic. Like, we didn't go into a studio, record them acoustic, and then make a video around them. Like, we literally had one mic overhead and we played these things one take through, just me playing and then these guys singing. And, you know, there was a couple times when it was like 40 degrees outside. And if you've ever played, you know, it's very difficult to sing and play in 40 degrees. Your voice is choked out, your hands aren't working right, your fingers aren't working. But that was the coolness of it, was everything was so raw.
Kip had plans to join Sam Hunt on his Southside Summer 2020 tour, but just like many other tours, those dates were rescheduled due to everything going on in the world right now. He was also looking forward to playing his new music from Wild World live for his fans. But despite everything being on hold, he's hopeful he'll get to do just that very soon.
I'm eager to get out and play this record because we were rehearsing this record as a band right before all this stuff happened. And man, it had so much magic dust live on it. And just had that element that made us so eager to get out and play these songs. And hopefully we get a chance to do that soon. I have not heard any updates on touring, period. I think that everybody's completely up in the air right now, what could happen. We've discussed what we'd like to do if certain things do happen. You know, we've approached the steps of if large gatherings are, you know, put into place, then maybe I set out and do super, super small bars, just me and guitar. I don't know. You know, we're gonna cross that bridge when we know a little more definitively what the scenario looks like. I needed a break. This was kind of came at a good time. I've been touring really, really hard for about 9 years straight. And so I needed a little time to step away, especially with, you know, I don't think people realize it's not only the touring, but the minute I'm home, I'm working on new music. So I never really get that time to, you know, I'll be in the studio from 9 in the morning till 12 at night, you know, trying to make all this stuff happen. So to keep the train moving. So I needed a chance mentally before I just completely burnt myself out to kind of step away.
Kip Moore's latest album, Wild World, is out Friday, May 29th, so make sure to check it out.
Coming up tomorrow, Chrissy Metz is sharing her musical journey and telling us more about her brand new song.
Plus, how Max Greenfield is teaching his kids empathy and gratitude. And he tells us about one big way we can all help kids around the world. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and healthy. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Bye, guys.